Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Thank you. Thank you. Everyone, welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Everyone, I hope that you're having a great day and you're ready for the program. Silence. Sit, please, sit. We're going to go ahead and do headlines with computer and technology news. We have a lot to, a lot to cover. Actually, by a lot, I mean about 6 stories, but they're going to be fun. They're very succinct. Seems like, everyone's having a relaxing day after a hectic, can I just say hectic Valentine's? Everyone, let's go ahead and get started with this. So computeramerica.com, that's where you'll find everything, past shows, future shows, podcasts, social media links, video archives, twitch.tv/computeramerica. If you'd like to join us in the chat room, Rover is just itching to ban people, and he needs your help to do that. So everyone check out our website for everything that we do here on the program. Now, that's our quick and hurried way of doing this. I want to keep this short, keep this succinct, and get started with computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. Here we go. So everyone, I think that for our first story, a number of these are just updates. Some of them are breaking news, but yeah, let's go ahead and do this. The first story is actually a bit of an update. So I had not followed this at all until I think now was a pretty reasonable conclusion to this whole saga. But if you haven't heard about it, we'll summarize it for you. Newegg had a bit of a problem. Newegg had a problem in that they had a customer support issue where a particular YouTuber, and a company as big as Newegg, this probably happens day in and day out all the time. And they just so happened to send a product, a defective product, to a popular YouTuber that had about 2 million subscribers on YouTube. He made a video and it went viral, calling out the US retailer Newegg. They sent him a motherboard, and they actually have a picture of the bent pins on the motherboard. You can see them right there, right where the CPU would kind of slot into. Bent pins all over the place. Not great. Not great. Now, today, after the video, after the outrage, Newegg released an apology saying that, customer care and support is in product quality is always number one to this and central to their business. Of course, the pictures don't lie, but there you are. And saying that they have changed the way that they are doing returns. So there's no question asked if there are issues with a motherboard or CPU, because those are very crucial and very important parts of a computer. There's going to be no questions asked. Take it. They'll, take it back and refund you your money. They said that this happened when you had an issue where the return was processed as a quote-unquote open box return as opposed to a defective product return, and the two products kind of got mixed up. That's what Newegg is claiming. I think the other part of the issue was the fact that Newegg was giving the runaround to Gamers Nexus, and yeah, Steve Burke just had enough of trying to get this whole thing sorted out and fixed. Luckily, this happened to someone, and I'm sure that this has happened to many other people, but this happened to someone who happened to have enough of an audience to raise a big enough concern over what happened. So yeah, I think that a lot of people remember Newegg as having very, very good customer support. They're still one of the best places to get computer hardware, but you have to remember the Newegg of yesteryear is not the Newegg of today. They were saved from bankruptcy. They were saved from bankruptcy back in 2016 by a Chinese investment firm, and they came in, cleaned up shop, and started making changes to the core business, that it was. So don't think that a business is just a business because it has the same logo and the same brand name. But yeah, some serious changes have happened. I'm going to reserve all other condemnation for Newegg. Mistakes happen. They said that they've changed things behind the scenes. I hope that it gets better. Newegg has definitely shifted its focus a little bit in the past couple of years, but I would still rank them as one of the best places to go for computer parts. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. And as always, buyer beware of open box policy. That can also get you into trouble. So, story number 1. Story number 2. This one is honestly shocking. Although, people who are very savvy about who this gentleman is may think, oh, well, of course he would do that. A gray hat hacker found one of the biggest exploits out there, and instead of using it himself, which, you could think of all the ways that you could do this, instead of fixing it himself, he took a $2 million bug bounty. Check this out. $2 million bug bounty in the Ether blockchain. You may know that more as like Ethereum and stuff like that. Well, a self-styled gray hat hacker figured out how to trick Ethereum's scaling solution Optimism into effectively printing unlimited Ether earlier this month. So yeah, you wouldn't mind 2 million? Well, this guy took the 2 million as opposed to printing unlimited Ether. And let's see, price of Ethereum. The current price of Ethereum is about $3,000 per token. This guy could have printed infinite of them. Now, don't get me wrong. Well, let's see. They have a trading volume of about, what is that? $13 billion. This guy could have cashed out so hard over the course of, a day, a couple months, a year. He could have essentially had free money for life if he had kept this one to himself. But instead, he took the noble way out. So they mentioned that software engineer Jay Freeman, who goes by Sarek online, Sarek, saying that they didn't leverage the exploit. Instead, he reported the issue to Optimism's dev team, who paid him a $2 million bug bounty. Freeman is probably best known for his work on Cydia, the app store for jailbroken iPhones. However, more recently, he's been looking for bugs on blockchain. According to the breakdown on his website, he discovered the glitch while looking into so-called nano payment protocols. Optimism is one of those protocols. They allow users to send small amounts of crypto with little transaction fees, albeit with security trade-offs. So they mentioned that similar to blockchain bridges like Wormhole, the platform mints alternative Ether tokens that exist only on the network. So I guess instead of actually sending one tiny fraction of Ether to another wallet to, kind of speed up the process, because there are so many reasons that you could split one Ether into infinite smaller transactions, and that would just slow the whole network down infinitely. So it looks like they use these little artificial Ether tokens, and that's where he could have printed so many of them. So he was able to fix that and, was awarded $2 million. It's pretty crazy. And really, not even like he's giving up all that money. Think of all the people that are holding, let's see, so if the trading volume is about 13 billion and that's, about 20% of the volume, that means 5 times that, you're looking at, somewhere in the neighborhood of about $70 billion that he could have completely crashed that whole market. And think about all the interconnectivity. This guy could have brought crypto to its knees, like in the course of a day. It's definitely a nice reward for a good deed, no doubt there. So clearly this guy is, this guy's not new to the scene, being the initial developer of the iPhone App Store before iPhone even had an App Store. But yeah, this one's pretty crazy. And I thought it was very, very, can I say the word righteous? Am I too young to use the word righteous? It was very righteous of him. Absolutely. So good job to Sarek. Now, story number 2. Story number 3. This one, we're going to keep it short. The article is going to have more information, but it's a fun little story about a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. And we talked a little bit about them before. Honorable. There you go. If you don't recall what a DAO is, they're like the NFT blockchain crypto type system that instead of having a board of directors, a company, instead of having any kind of governing body, you instead have a DAO where people vote with their tokens in any given project. Imagine Bitcoin, and everyone with any amount of Bitcoin can cast their vote. And of course, you need then 51% of all the Bitcoin to vote and vote for, a simple majority. Things like that. Well, more organizations are forming, printing a token, distributing that token, and then people vote with the tokens that are printed. One individual turned that on its head just a little bit, where instead of like in finance, where people go use aliases, they purchase stock, and they do a hostile takeover, quote unquote, of companies by secretly getting a voting majority within, with shares within a company. This same person did the exact same thing, but he was a little more sneaky than that. And it took people for $500,000 worth of equity in the project. So check this out. They had this decentralized autonomous organization. He put up for vote, and obviously no one voted for it. He put up for vote to allow him to take over the whole organization. People said no. It sent out the bot on Discord sent out a message saying that there's a new vote. Go ahead and vote for it. Here's the measure. People said no. Then they made a second wallet, sent all of the cryptocurrency that he had been amassing, or all of the token that he had been amassing, sent it to the second wallet, and immediately started a second vote. The bot didn't send out another message because it was too close to the other, to the other message. They don't want to spam people or, don't want anything like that. So it didn't send out a second one. Not enough people voted. He gave himself control of the organization, transferred all of the money in the treasury, which was about $500,000, and then on top of that, minted 1 billion more tokens. So whatever little value was left in the tokens themselves, he was then able to cash out all over again. And eventually, he made away with about $522,000 worth of tokens. And everyone within the organization, Build Finance, by the way, is the DAO that was affected. A self-styled venture builder sought to help finance and manage crypto projects with its Build token. In exchange for a supplied Build token, the projects would adopt the token and help grow demand for it. They funded projects such as decentralized exchange aggregator, a lending and borrowing platform, and a token pegged to the price of gold. So, hey, the guy operated within their rules. He used a little bit of trickery to, he disabled the Git books and the proposal bot, and he got him. This is a very clean, very clean getaway for this guy. So they leave with this message saying, quote, "It is with deep regret that we have to inform the community of this total and irrecoverable loss of Build DAO treasury assets through the deeds of one malicious actor. Team members have made direct contact with the attacker, but there seems to be no appetite for a dialogue, much less any reparations. Yeah, this guy made a clean getaway. He took absolutely everything from it, and he's not going back. He's long gone. So, yeah, another DAO, unfortunately going down in flames. Now, speaking of going down in flames, Ukraine. Haha, topical. No, Ukraine. They're having a bit of an issue. And real quick, Rover, he did it according to the rules. He did it according to the rules. You're absolutely right. He didn't hack them per se. But it'd be like if... Okay, so let's say the best analogy for people out there. It'd be like if he rented out a large room and said, we're having a vote to change the owner from these people to me alone. Everyone who's against it raised their hand. And everyone in the room raised their hand and said, no, we don't want you to be the only leader. And then he jumped off stage, ran down the center aisle, burst through the doors, went to the next room directly over that's a completely empty room with just himself, and screamed, everyone who wants to be, everyone who wants me to be the new owner of this project, raise your hands. And him, being the only one in this room, raised his hand with the amount of tokens that he had, gave himself just enough to take over completely, while everyone else was minding their own business in the other room thinking, oh, okay, that stupid measure was shot down. Nope. He was in the next room, taking over. And then, of course, cashed everything out. It was sneaky. It was very sneaky. I would not say ethical by any means. Did he do anything like hacker-wise? Probably not. It was more social engineering, but it was clever. You definitely have to give him credit. It was clever for that DAO hack. So, with that being said, next story, down in flames, Ukraine. Let's face it, in typical Russian style, Ukraine's military banks are suffering a not very sophisticated distributed denial of service attack. Yep. And for those who don't know, it's they simply have systems, entire botnets with thousands, tens of thousands of computers that send requests to websites and be like, hey, give us all of the, give us all the ping traffic for your website for the past 2 days, and send it ad infinitum forever. And, the website that are pretty dumb, they get flooded with all this artificial traffic. They can't do anything, and they lock down, shut down. And for Ukraine, it happens to be a couple of banks, and if you're watching the video portion, you can see here we're trying to pull up the mil.gov.ua, and yeah, still down. Can't reach it. It's still suffering a distributed denial of service attack, and I don't know how much of the military's operations are handled from the front page. Like, I don't know how, it's like, oh, hey, we need to launch a counterattack. Go to the website and log into, use your login credentials to start the counterattack. Like, I don't know how much this is really disrupting anything, but it does show that there is some kind of DDoS attack on critical Ukraine infrastructure, even if it's just the front page of the banking systems, and even if it's just the front page of the Department of Defense. It doesn't really bring anything down, but it does impede just basic information getting out there. So the Government Center for Strategic Communications also posted that Privat Bank, because this is in Ukraine. So Privat Bank, one of Ukraine's largest banks, has been under a massive DDoS attack. Privat24 users report problems with payments and the application in general. Some users cannot manage to log in at all, and others do not display a balance in recent transaction. Although they assured everyone this is just a server issue, it's not so much like anyone lost any money. it's a problem. So in general, they're unsophisticated, but they can also be pretty effective by flooding the target with the target website with bogus traffic. They can temporarily take down websites and until websites can do certain things to redirect that traffic or mitigate it. There is currently no indication that Russia or anyone connected to Russia is behind these attacks, but they do throw more uncertainty into a tense and volatile situation. I don't claim to be any kind of geopolitician. I don't know what's really happening between Ukraine and Russia, but things like this. I'm looking at this and saying this is the future of conflict. You know, it's the future of conflict involves Twitter accounts that are tracking every move of Russian troops. This involves distributed denial of service attacks on critical infrastructure in both countries. This involves, not just people who are directly in the war zone or, on the Ukrainian border. This involves everyone. I saw someone this morning, I was reading through a thread, and someone said that they were quote unquote doom watching a live troop movement thread on Twitter that that these people are doing. I'm sure that somewhere on twitch.tv there is someone covering as many news sources of the Ukraine-Russian conflict, and you can tune in with hundreds of other people and try to find the latest breaking news on a gaming website. Like, the future of conflict is going to look so different, and it's going to be accessible to everyone, and everyone's going to be able to give their 2 cents. Imagine if everyone could go back to World War II and everyone could kind of tweet out, this kind of sucks, or whatever the message would be. It's and how that could sway public opinion, and the fact that you can even measure public opinion. Troop movements are real time. Everyone can watch war happen from every perspective. There's not just whatever propaganda you want to put out there. It's actual live footage from the battlefield. I'm watching this and I'm concerned, but I'm also so curious as to how this will play out in the future. So there you go. And of course that Twitter account, that's still there. Okay, so story number 5. Let's get a little bit more light with it. We're gonna start to wrap it up here. We have 2 more stories. Story number 5, though. If you're a fan of BioShock, and by lighthearted I mean dark, dreary, and kind of horror-esque, but still, if you're a fan of BioShock, and I know that a lot of people are, well, Take-Two and 2K are looking to adapt the series into, well, a Netflix series. And, well, it looks like Netflix is headed to Rapture. The company says it's teaming up with 2K and Take-Two Interactive for a film adaptation of the BioShock series. No other details are available, but based on the image, it wouldn't be a surprise to see it tackling the first game, because obviously they shared the product image of the first iteration of the series. There's a good chance that BioShock will translate well to the big screen. The original 2007 game has a striking Art Deco underwater setting and an unforgettable story. And that's not to mention great characters, though it remains to be seen whether filmmakers can truly capture the terror of a Big Daddy charging towards you. So we'll definitely have to see. I think this is definitely on the heels of Arcane and Riot, how they did really well with that adaptation. So more video game adaptations hopefully do well, maybe animated. We'll have to wait and see if they can make it not lousy. I've been very pleased with the Dota, League of Legends, with a number of the video game series that Netflix has done. I think they're doing pretty well, and it really could, comic books translate so well onto the movie screen. I'm hoping video games translate even better to streaming services. And as dominant as comic book movies have been to theaters, I'm hoping that video games become as dominant on streaming services. That's just a personal opinion. I really do hope, because there are some great stories and I want to see them expanded. So there you go. Okay, now our last story is a healthy dose of irony. So everyone, I want to say, first of all, thank you for tuning into the program and, sticking with us. Let's reward you with the story from a couple of days ago. And this is actually one that one of my users in the chat room has been, kind of talking about for a little while now. And I get it. For what it promises, it is important. More and more sites are being locked behind paywalls. Not everyone wants to grab one little story, read one little tidbit. It almost feels like you click on the wrong link and you're suddenly asked, give us money, give us money, give us money. And of course, you then hit the back arrow and there are 20 other sources that you could read. Now, clearly, being in the media, I know the importance of paying journalists and, paying for good journalistic, endeavors. But let's face it, being slapped with a paywall over and over and over again, it's not fun. That led to situations like, the 12-foot ladder. And that was a project started by a gentleman at the beginning of the COVID era to tackle paywalls. Obviously, it goes off of the saying that if someone puts up a 10-foot wall, someone's just going to build a 12-foot ladder. Here's your irony for you. There you go. And neither one of those. It's that he's asking for donations, a $12 donation, so that he can make the service better. There you go. So they're saying that paywalls are a popular method of ensuring subscriptions within the news industry, partly due to the industry losing its share of ad revenue. They're saying that the tool's creator, Thomas Millar, claims to have created it at the beginning of COVID and found that 8 of the top 10 links on Google were paywalled. His tool works by effectively reconfiguring the user's web browser to appear to be a Google crawler. Sites will often share their full text with Google to achieve a higher rank in Google search result. Because this tool doesn't actually modify the paywall website, just the visitor's browser, it would not be considered an offense under the Computer Misuse Act. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. Clearly, clearly getting the full content without paying the money, I mean, that just feels like, you're not breaking the rules, but man, is it a little disingenuous. So despite the criticisms of the low quality content appearing in Google search, 12-foot advertises itself as working with your favorite websites. And by the way, the times that I've tried this, I've never used it for the show or anything like that, but just personally, it has not worked. It's not been a great tool. So what does he do? He's asking for people to voluntarily subscribe for $12 a month. There you go. $12 a month to cover his tool's cost. The Economist offers digital subscription at €18 a month or £18 a month, which funds its journalism. So this dude is asking for half the price of an entire journalistic team's revenue just to get around the ability to not have to pay that. He's saying that what does it get you? Honestly, not much currently. We have a small Chrome extension that provides convenience while using 12-foot. I'm working on it. It's my mission to clean the web, and I have big plans. Your $12 will go to funding the development of a better version and keeping the current service online. So yeah, looks like he made a fairly popular app. And I wouldn't even say a fairly successful one, but a fairly popular one at the very least. And I was looking to turn that into a further business. Now, the business of people don't want to pay subscription, like that. I guess that's the ironic part. People who want to not pay money seem like the worst possible people you want to ask for money. It seems very strange. that he would be the one to ask them. So there you go. That's really the end of it. Let your mind run wild. The gentleman who created the tool to get around subscriptions is now asking for subscriptions to keep his service alive. Man, if only there were other people in his shoes that could share his pain and commiserate with him. If only. If only. So everyone, there you go. That's about it. I want to thank you so much for tuning into the program. And if you're listening to the podcast, thank you so much for doing that. If you're watching us live or on YouTube, thank you for doing that as well. Until next time, computeramerica.com. Everything will be there. And we have, we have some stuff coming up, including articles, reviews, and yeah, of course, giveaways. I'm hoping next month to announce some stuff. Stay tuned, everyone. Twitter, social media, computeramerica.com. Best way. Have a great one. Bye.